Okay, I've made some progress on the Cub turbo diesel. The fuel pump has been relocated. It's all hooked up, needs to be wired. Under the hood, I've made some more interesting discoveries. I'm not really complaining about nothing, but the kid who built this loved using fuses, loved using electrical tape, and loved using butt connectors, crimp-on butt connectors. He fused everything. He fused the engage light wire for the starter. He fused the glow plug after the switch, which that should have been fused before the switch. Or sorry, not the glow plug, the grid heater. This is the grid heater wire right here. He fused it after the switch, and it's actually melted back in there, so it's been pulling too many amps. So that should have a fuse before the switch. He fused the headlights in a few different spots. He fused the tail lights in a few different spots. This wire right here is what I thought was the charging wire, but it's not. It's also fused, but it was missing its fuse. So that'll be a good fusible link for something later on down the road. I made a few discoveries with the charging system. He had the wire running across the front of the engine, coming over to here, and connecting in to this butt connector right here, which goes up to the positive battery terminal. And I made a discovery. This is a top and side post battery, which is kind of nice. He also had that wire running through this resistor. From what I can tell, it's a 1 ohm resistor. There's a what's left of it right there. If it will focus, maybe see it. But as far as I can tell, this machine does not need that, because you have a voltage regulator right here. So here's where the wire comes off the voltage regulator. These are the ones coming from the stator right here. Comes into the voltage regulator. You have two going in, 2 going out. You got your positive and you got a ground right here. So this here should technically be connected straight up to right here. That is the battery post on the starter. So this does not need a fuse. This does not need anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconnect this from right here, go straight up behind the oil drain line, up to the starter, connected. We should have charging. If we don't have charging for whatever reason, I will put this here back in line, which like I said, I don't think it needs, because it has the voltage regulator right here. That should be able to handle basically it putting power back through the stator. Another thing I found out, his turbo drain does not have a clamp on it. So the battery has to come out. You gotta get to the turbo drain line, put a clamp on there. That's definitely a biggie. You definitely want a clamp on your turbo drain. Everything else was clamped. Everything else was really, really well done. But I can't believe he forgot a clamp on his turbo drain. He even did all the clamps right here, because this is where the drain is going back into the engine. His clamp here, his clamp here. Like, he over clamped all of this, which is good. I'm not complaining about that, but why didn't he not clamp the turbo drain? So that will get repaired as well. I'll be cleaning up some more of this wiring. Like I said, this is the wiring right here. This is coming off the engine. This is going into the voltage regulator right here. I'm trying to keep all the electrical on one side, all the fuel lines and stuff on the other. I do have the exhaust right here coming off the turbo. I should be okay to sneak the wires right back here. Actually, I think it's just the headlight wires anyways. Since this wire here, oh, and the trigger wire. This is the trigger wire for the ignition. I might even move that up to right here and bring it down this way and back. This is also going to be changed to red, yellow from red. Reds are powers. Yellows I normally use for safeties and for ignition, triggering the ignition. So this one's definitely going to get changed out. This is a random ground that didn't go anywhere. It could actually be from the original chassis. This is one of the 2 wires going to the back for the rear lights. This one here will be going away as well, and this will become most likely a red wire. Then I need to figure out a color for the fuel pump. I think I'm going to run white to the fuel pump. And all my blacks will be grounds. That's how I normally do. The ground wires, they'll all be blacks. Yellow will be, like I said, trigger for the starter. White, I think I'll run to the fuel pump. And then my plan is, I have some fuse blocks. I might mount a central fuse block right here or in this area somewhere. So I'll have 3 fuses, one for the fuel pump, one for glow plugs, one for the accessories, so which will be the lights. If I have a 4th in there, that might be for the other lights under the hood, under the dash. The plan is the backlight for the oil pressure gauge will have constant power, so it will be ran off of the wires going to the voltage gauge, and all that will be ran off of key power on the ignition. So that's the plan as of right now. I just want to get this cleaned up, get rid of a bunch of the fuses, because some of them were hidden down in underneath the hood where you never find them. So if you had an issue, where's the issue? So everything will be straight shots back to the fuse box. I'll have a central fuse box. Everything will be controlled the way it should be from the fuse blocks, the ignition, everything. So that's the idea at the moment. So like I said, all the fuel lines and stuff are done. I don't have fuel in the tank yet, just in case I do need to take that pump back out for whatever reason. That will fit perfectly fine with the fender panel, because obviously that goes over top of the drive shaft, and we got enough clearance between the fuel line and the drive shaft. I've also taken care of putting zip ties on the fuel line right here. As you can see, nothing is hitting. So we are good. The fuel lines are all tucked out of the way they should be. I do got to get a fuel filter for this. It had no filter, just like it had no air filter. It's getting an air filter. It's going to get a fuel filter. Just a few things simple things that were missed on this machine that are very important. Air filter, fuel filter, fuses in the correct location, not after a switch. You always put a fuse before a switch, so you can pop it before you're actually running power out to it. So, and really it should kind of have a relay on it, but this thing appears to start up fairly decent when it's cold out, so may or may not be needed. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the Turbo Cub at the moment. Just getting some stuff cleaned up. I gotta find my fuse block, I gotta find some wire. Hopefully I don't have to buy any, because I don't really feel like buying much of anything for this machine unless it's absolutely necessary. So that's pretty well it. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.